Okay, me and you, yeah, you, we have all fallen victims to the study myths before that might have hurt our mark pretty badly. And so today I want to ensure that doesn't happen anymore, that people can be successful in school. And so today we're going to go over some of the study myths. You could also call them, I guess, like self-limiting beliefs or something. And yeah, we'll just break them down and ensure that people don't fall for them anymore, because they could be pretty tricky. And the first one that we have here on the list is you must be smart to succeed in school, which is, like, okay, there is some truth to it. Like, if you, don't get me wrong, if you are smart, you are really smart, it will be easier to get better marks in school, but it's not necessarily to be smart in order to succeed in school at all. Matter of fact, I think that the majority of people who get really good marks and do like excellent in school, including myself, just know how to study. Literally, like, we just know how to study. There is a strategy. A lot of them might lie to you and just say like, oh, I don't even really try. Like, I'm just like, I just get it, bro. But no, they're probably lying. The majority of us just know how to study, just learned our habits, just learn to focus a bit better, and that's how we succeed in school. Okay, that's really about it. Like, the majority of people are not geniuses. You just have to know how to study. And I think that this belief could hold you back pretty badly. Okay. It holds back your potential. Because if you think that, oh, you have to be smart to get good marks in school, and you go like, oh, well, but I'm not smart, so I cannot succeed in school, you're just limiting yourself. That's not true. Like, you can still do very well, even if you're not that smart. As long as you figure out what learning strategies are the best for you, and you just stick to them, you're gonna be good. You're gonna be set. So I think this is a pretty bad belief. So I'm not gonna put this at you will fail, because that would sort of necessitate that, like, if you believe this, then you're gonna 100% fail, which is not entirely true, because a lot of smart people, or okay, not necessarily smart people, but a lot of people who excel in school might have this belief that, like, oh, I'm getting really good marks because I'm so smart. But no, that's not necessarily true, right? And then it's not like they're failing in school, even though they do have this belief. So I'm not gonna put this at you will fail, but I will balance it out, and I put it at, like, will hurt your mark badly. Like, because if you believe this, and it actually is holding you back from studying and from learning, yeah, that's pretty bad. It will definitely hurt your mark. That's where it sits for now. So the next myth is that you can lock in next year. Okay, so this is kind of funny. Like, I know, like, you have probably met people like that. Maybe you are one of those people who go like, well, I might not get like really good marks right now, but next year I'll actually lock in. I'll study pretty hard, because that's when it's going to matter. But you know what? I hate to break it to you. No, actually, I love to break it to you. Like, it will not happen. Okay, like, it will not happen. You will not just suddenly change and become a different person and succeed all of a sudden, get all those useful habits and lock in and just get ahead of everybody in school just because you locked in, because it's important that year. No, it's not going to happen, right? The habits that allow people to succeed in school are built really incrementally. What you do today define what you're going to be like in a year, right? So it's really important that you don't believe this. You will not lock in all of a sudden. You have to do the work now. Like, if you really want to succeed, you have to do the work now. You have to try, you have to learn, you have to gain all those useful habits that would help you to succeed in school. So please don't believe this bullshit. It will not help you. This goes into you will fail. Okay, that's got it, right? Sorry to break it to you. Okay, so the next one that we have here is I'll do it tomorrow, or you'll do it tomorrow. So there's, okay, kind of the myth, the point of the myth that, like, oh, I'm not really feeling like doing it right now, so I can just do the work tomorrow, whether that will be like to prepare for an exam or just work on an assignment. But the thing about these stuff is that you will not have more sort of motivation to do it later than what you have right now, right? Maybe, I mean, unless there's a deadline, there's like a really strict deadline tomorrow, you know, that's gonna like force you to study and to work. But otherwise, you're not gonna be more energized and like, oh yeah, let's do it. You're not gonna. It's not gonna happen tomorrow, right? It's not gonna be any more than today, at least. So it's really important that you don't like really fall for this. This really common trap. I fall for this all the time. Everybody falls for this, but it's really important that you can tackle it, that you can catch yourself saying this, and just do it right now. Like the best time that you can do it is just do it right now. Okay. So I'm not gonna say it's gonna hurt your mark pretty badly, because I don't think it's as detrimental as thinking that you have to be like super smart to succeed in school. But I do think that it adds quite a bit of tension to your studying, and you better get rid of that. So yeah, I think this is where it goes for now. Maybe I'll change it later. I don't know. Like, but for now, this is where it goes. So the next one that we have is, if you suck at a certain subject, you don't need to study this. Like here it says, you suck at this subject anyway. So like, oh, I don't need to study for this. I'm so bad at math, I'm gonna fail anyway. Like, why would I study for math if I'm gonna fail? Well, you will fail. If you actually think this, you will fucking fail, right? Because if, uh, you know, if you yourself think that you cannot succeed, you will not succeed, right? And let me tell you this, maybe a bit controversial, but it doesn't actually matter whether you're good at the subject or you're bad at the subject, right? I feel like you can, with the right strategy and with the right mindset, you can succeed in absolutely, like, okay, virtually everything, right? I'm saying virtually because, you know, the right learning strategy is probably not going to help you out in like mechanical engineering if you like, if your strong side is English, right? So like, but still, you can do very good in a class that you might not expect yourself to do well in. For example, me personally, I wouldn't say like I suck at math. I'm not like terrible at it, but you know, I'm not that good. Like I'm probably about average in terms of like analytical thinking, but I just know how to study properly. So like whenever I get like a math sort of aimed class, uh, whether that would be like little like maths or statistics or something like that, I just excel in it. Like I can do really, really good purely because I know how my brain works and I know what strategy suits me better to study for math. Like I might actually make a video on this sometimes later, like if anybody's going to be interested, like how do you actually ace your math exams if you suck at math, because that strategy I feel like is pretty good and I don't hear people talk about it a lot, so stay tuned. But anyway, this is a detrimental belief. You know, you can still strategize with your learning habits and just if not excel in class, you can still do like really, really, really good. Certainly I recommend that you just get rid of this belief. It's pretty stupid. Please don't believe this, okay? Like you can do it. I believe it. I believe in you. Okay. Next one that we have here is, I'm too tired right now. So that's like, so okay, let's imagine this scenario. You have to do your work, whether that is to prepare for an exam or do an assignment, write an essay, whatever. And let's say you are feeling really, really tired and you don't want to do it right now. You want to postpone this and do it later. Now, I'm actually going to put this at not that bad, because the thing is, you could actually just be really, really tired, right? So this is where you have to think about it like more analytically, right? Like think about it rationally. Like how much sleep did you get that day? What did you do to make yourself that tired? Because that tiredness could also just be a mental block. It's quite often the case that, you know, with people that they're mentally just, you know, exhausted from something or just bored, not feeling like doing anything, and it sort of reflects on their body. And it's actually how it works sometimes. You know, you feel pretty bad in the mind, you might feel pretty bad physically as a result. And in those situations, I recommend that, you still, if it's the case, if it's your mind that makes you feel tired, I recommend that you still try and study at least, right? Like at least try and see how you feel. Maybe try and do some activity beforehand, walk around, do some push-ups. I don't know, whatever suits you. And then just try and study. But if you're like genuinely tired, like, if you didn't get like that much sleep, if you had like work all day, or you were studying all day or for something else, and you're just genuinely exhausted physically, it might not be the best idea to actually study, because, you're gonna burn out. It's going to be very difficult to stay focused, and yeah, you're just not going to retain as much information as you would in your like sort of peak physical condition. So so I'd put it in not that bad, because, quite often you might actually just be too tired. And yeah, let's move on to the next one. The next studying myth is one day is enough, right? So one day is enough is applicable when you have to like prepare for an assignment or prepare for an exam, again, blah blah blah. You have to prepare for something, and you think, well, you know what? I think I can just do it in one day, right? Like I'm feeling really confident. I can just do it in one day. I don't need more. Now, there's sort of the caveat, because you might be right. You might be able to do it in one day. Maybe you're a genius, which you're probably not. Sorry. Or maybe the assignment or the exam is just not that hard, and you can actually prepare for it in just like one day. Like, it happens. Yeah, sometimes one day is indeed enough. But, here's where you have to, again, use some of your analytical thinking, okay? If your teacher, like, or your professor in the university gives you a particular deadline that's suspiciously long, they're doing it for a reason. Like, they're not doing it just for the fun of it. Like, if they're giving you a longer notice beforehand, there is reason behind it, right? They're not doing it for fun. So, and in that case, it's pretty important that you actually build a proper plan to study, to do whatever you gotta do, so that you don't mess up, right? So yeah, again, just as with I'm too tired right now, I wouldn't say it's that bad, because quite often one day is actually enough, but varies. So actually, no. Actually, I'm gonna put this at a little tension. Yeah, I'm gonna put it at a little tension, because if you do believe this, that one day is enough, and you apply it for when it's not supposed to be applied, you're gonna be screwed. Like, it's gonna be really difficult to actually prepare in one day. Then I know you've heard these stories and seen people, really funny stories, when they have to like write an entire like 20-page essay in one night, because they were just messing around all the time beforehand and not really doing anything. Don't let that be you. Plan ahead, figure out whether one day is actually enough beforehand, and yeah. Next one is, you can just teach yourself this. So this is actually, I see this super often, and I've actually done this myself, where you go to a class, maybe your prof is not that good, maybe he's just boring, maybe you're like not really feeling it right now, and you just you go like, I don't really want to do it right now. Like, I don't want to try and memorize stuff. I'll just go home and teach myself this. And this is a slippery slope. Like, this is really, really tricky, because sometimes maybe you're actually going to be right. Sometimes you can actually teach yourself the stuff surprisingly better than your teacher. But quite often you might also just use this mindset and apply this logic, not because you can actually teach yourself better, but because you're just too lazy to do it in the moment, and you go like, I just get home and do it at home. Yeah, so I'll add this at like a little tension, and I would put this at the top of a little tension. It could be pretty detrimental if you're not able to actually teach yourself the material better, but you're just lazy. Because if you do it once, you might continue doing this. You might continue like going to classes, thinking like, oh, I'll just do this at home. I'll just do this at home. Yeah. So better, like, I recommend that you actually don't do this at all. Like, you try your best to understand stuff during the class time, and then in like very exceptional cases, you try and go home and study it yourself and see how it works out for you specifically, right? Because maybe some people might find it easy to go home and study something they did in class. Some people might find it a bit more challenging. So it really depends. But I'm gonna put it here for now. Okay, so the next one is, you don't need to study for it because you're smart. Like, who do you think you are? Seriously. Okay, maybe if the subject or the test is like super easy, you might actually be too smart to like study for it. But in the majority of the cases, it's just not going to be the case. You have to study, you have to prepare, even if you're smart. Just like how we talked that you don't actually have to be smart to succeed in school. The same way, your success in school is not at all guaranteed if you are merely smart, right? So I've personally had a friend of mine in high school, a really good friend, who's a genuinely smart guy. Like, he was not wrong about this. Like, he is really, really smart. I think he's smarter than me, actually. But anytime we had a test, he'd do worse than me. Why? Because he didn't fucking study. Because he was doing some stupid shit instead. Because he was not studying properly. He was not utilizing the strategies. He was just relying on his own natural intelligence. And now he's having a really, 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 really difficult time in the university, right? Because the university is a bit harsher. You get a bit more freedom, a bit more exposed to the fun stuff, and you might not prioritize studying as much as in high school anymore. And so it becomes even more difficult to try and incorporate all of the studying methods, all the strategies. This mindset is really, really bad. It's super bad. You will fail if you believe this, even if you're actually smart. Because trust me, at certain points, your natural intelligence will not carry you anymore. In the university especially. Maybe in high school, where you have like 1,000, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 people studying in the high school. Yeah, of course you might be like really, really smart and carried by your natural intelligence. But when you get to the university, when like the numbers of students and the competition is just so much greater, and the difficulty of the classes is just so much more difficult, right? Your natural intelligence is just not enough anymore. You have to implement the strategies. So I'm going to put this at, you don't need to study for because you're smart. I'm going to put this at, you will fail. And I'll actually put this, I'm just thinking whether to put it above you lock in next year or below it, but I'm gonna say, I'm gonna leave it right here. Maybe you can express your mind in the comments too. Okay, the next myth is optional assignment equals no need to do this. Now this is really funny because this is like the default mindset. Surprisingly, it's the most common one. Like, that's what the sort of the tendency that I have noticed in high school, especially when the teacher is going to give you some sort of an optional assignment. Go to class, hey, this is not for your grade, but it's like recommended you do this. Now, the thing about optional assignments is you don't actually have to do them, technically, but it's highly recommended that you do complete them, because quite often they will be useful. They'll be useful to, if not boost your mark right now, then do it in the future, or just maybe foster relationships with your professor or your teacher. So it's really important that you still do them. Like, I'm not gonna say it's like you're definitely not gonna fail if you don't do optional assignments. Neither will it like hurt your marks pretty badly. So I'm gonna actually say it's not that bad. I'm just gonna say it's not that bad. Maybe the top of not that bad. because I believe it could be useful for for a lot of people, but I don't think it's a necessary thing. But it is really good if you do the optional assignments. It will genuinely help you on your exams and your like assignments that actually matter for marks. Okay, so the next one here is you don't need to study this because you will never use it. Now this one's funny because technically you're right. Oftentimes, you're not going to use all those formulas you're memorizing algebra if you want to do if you want to be physical education teacher in high school, right? They're probably not going to need like all this algebra formulas. But what I'm going to say this is might piss you off a little bit, but you're just missing the point, right? If you think this, if you genuinely think this, you're just missing the fucking point. Because the thing is, you're not only studying something in school or in the university because university is a bit different. In high school, you're not necessarily studying something because you will use all of it in your adult life. You're also studying this to build the habits, right? It's like a challenge for you. It's like it's building your character. Seriously, it sounds funny. I know you might never use math, you might never use algebra, might never use any of that in your adult life, but the habits that you gain on your way of trying to still study, still strategize, still use the studying methods to succeed and excel in that class will reflect on everything in your life. Trust me, because the discipline required to study for something like that is a lot greater. So it's really important that you're not going to fail, but it might hurt your mark pretty bad. That's where I'm going to put this. It's not even that, in terms of high school or like college that I'm talking here, this specific mindset could hurt you like in your adult life because you're missing out on a lot of sort of opportunities to sort of foster your intelligence. Seriously, to advance your thinking skills. So yeah, I'm going to put this here because it prevents you from studying for the stuff that you don't think you're going to need. Yeah, and I'm not even talking about the fact that you might actually need this, right? It's no guarantee that you have your life figured out right now. You'll probably change your mind 100 more times as to what you're going to do in the future. So it's important that you try everything out. Yeah, I'm going to put this. It will hurt your mark pretty badly. The next one is, if you try hard enough, you'll 100% succeed. Now, it's not that bad of a belief. It's not that bad of a belief because, indeed, if you try hard enough, you will have a lot easier time to get good marks and excel in school. But, it's still not guaranteed. It's still important that you sort of understand the best ways for you to study, what they are, how to use them, when to use them, for which subjects. So it's not only about effort, it's also about the strategy. But generally speaking, if you're somebody who's willing to put in the effort, you will probably figure out what works best for you on the way, kind of like as you go. And so, I'm going to put this at not that bad. And the last belief or the last myth here on the list, and I'm pretty tight on time right now. I'm yapping for way too long. Sorry. I'd ace this if I actually tried. Now this is funny because I've seen a lot of people actually believe this, that oh, if I actually locked in, I'd ace it. And the thing is, you are probably right. And that's the good thing. That's the good part. The bad part is that you are also the potential man. You don't want to be the potential man, because the potential man, you can have as much potential as you want to, but if you're not actually utilizing this, you will never ever succeed. So you will fail if you think this. You will absolutely fail. It's really important that you don't just talk about what you could have done. It's really important that you actually do it. So I'm gonna end it at that. Thanks everybody for watching. Please share your your opinion on some of this in the comments if you've made it this far, because it's been like 27 minutes or so of me absolutely yapping my ass off. So yeah, feel free to share your opinion in the comments and argue with me. And yeah, I'll be happy to do it with you as well. See ya.